So a lot of people have asked where I get some of the specialty wood that you see in our channel, like the outdoor kitchen countertop that I built, or for my camper, like that 5x5 plywood. And your answer is right here.
We've moved.
Plywood Company of Fort Worth, which apparently has moved. I no longer get my wood here, I get it somewhere else. Where have they moved to?
A liar.
Customers that way.
Oh.
I went well. So we're here today picking up some more specialty wood because
I'm getting a new sewing room table.
Aaron's getting a new table. Talk about that in a minute. Let's get some wood and head home. And so the reason we need some wood today is this room right here. So this is Club Aaron, also known as the sewing room. So you got your ironing board, you've got your cutting station, your sewing machine, embroidery machine, design board, and that's all well and good, but there's still some problems with this room. And so Aaron's had this room this way for about 2 years. I came in here and sewed once to make the curtains and stuff for our off-road camper, and I was like, this is terrible, it needs to change. So it looks like she has a good setup, but the first problem is light. So it's, I don't know, middle of the day right now, you got your windows, but if it gets dark in here or the sun goes down at all, it gets pretty dim. So this fan light here, basically worthless. We put that light over the sewing machine, but it shines right down and creates shadows. The sewing machine does have some lights on it itself, but it's not enough. So first thing is we need to get some better lighting in here. And then second, this table. So I made this for our last house. It was never meant to go in this room. It was never supposed to be in this configuration. It was actually supposed to be in the corner of another room. And in here we've got like doors and stuff everywhere, so it doesn't really work out. Also, whenever I was in here sewing for the first time, I quickly noticed that whenever you're sewing and you're feeding fabric through the machine, you have a wall right there. You have nowhere for your fabric to go after you push it through the machine. So the sewing machine needs to be arranged somehow so you can feed fabric through and there's nothing on the other side and it can go right through. If you notice, there's also some computer equipment in here. At first, this was temporary whenever, the whole COVID thing first started, but this has quickly become Aaron's semi-permanent home office, so we need to allow for a little bit of room for that too, because you can't, really cut when your computer's there. That you don't want to cut your computer cables, I think. So, we're going to make that better too. What would you like to see?
Well, I'm getting exactly what I want. I'd like to have the cutting station here where you can get to it on all three sides. And then we're going to put a nice, huge 72-inch by 36-inch mat so that we don't have to keep rearranging fabric every time we need to make a cut. The home office will be here, so it will be separate from the sewing machine. The sewing machine will be over here where the fabric can kind of feed through the machine and spill out onto this nice, huge, big table. And then we may move the embroidery machine over to the middle so it's got a little bit more space, and then we'll still have some shelves underneath for storage and maybe a couple little drawers for scissors.
See how it goes.
We'll see.
Yeah, you don't want to get too
He's
ambitious.
asking for the world. So.
Yeah. So the basic plan is we're going to do, so this is almost like 6 feet, like right to the end of here. So we're going to do a square 6x6 table to accommodate all of that. We'll have a shelf underneath part of it, maybe some drawers. We'll see.
Maybe I'll make you a quilt.
Maybe. So let's head to the garage and get started on that. So this is the wood we're going to be working with today, and you can tell it's quality wood because it's made out of steel. So actually the wood store didn't have our order ready yet, so they're going to deliver that later. In the meantime, I picked up some 1 3/4 inch square tube. We're going to be making the legs of the table out of that. And so this is our original design. It was a square. This is our more advanced CAD generated design. So you've got your 6x6 tabletop. The shelf is going to hang down from the top and then go about half the distance. We'll have a brace over here, probably put a couple more braces across the top for some more rigidity. And we're going to build a bunch of squares. So I'm going to start with the legs for each side. And then the challenge is going to be, we're going to have to make this so it comes apart so we can get it actually into the house. So I'm going to have to do some bolts in there somehow. I'll figure that out as we go, but let's start cutting. It's a little messy, but it'll hold. Good job.
Yeah.
All right, so the grinding is all done. Everything's smooth now, and we have two identical-ish frames here. They're close enough. They're 1/16 of an inch off, but here at 0 to Awesome, we call that acceptable. I also just found out that our 1 3/4 square tube is actually 1.5 inches. So Steelyard screwed me on that one, but it'll be okay. The legs will just be a little bit smaller. So what we're gonna do next, we have to make this 3-dimensional now. So we need approximately 6-foot bars going between all the top 2 corners down here for sure. Probably do another one over there for good measure. And then, like I mentioned before, we need to make it so this can come apart. So what I think I'm gonna do is, I happen to have some 1.5 inch angle iron, and so I'm gonna cut some pieces of that, and then everywhere where we put a bar, we'll weld a piece of angle iron to it, and then we'll drill through the angle iron, and then I think we'll weld a nut into the frame here, and then we can take a bolt through the angle iron into the frame, and that should secure everything pretty good, or at least I hope so. So next, a little more cutting, a little drilling, and then we should have a table base, hopefully. All right, so our table is pretty much all together. We're almost done with the welding. We still need to make a couple tabs for the tabletop to screw onto whenever we get that made. And next we need to work on some stools. So this table is gonna be 34 inches tall once the top is on it, which is taller than your average table. So because of that, and because Erin has short legs, she needs a stool. So the table she has now is the same height, and she's been using this stool right here to hold what I can only describe as the sewing machine throttle pedal. You press this, makes your sewing machine go. But for Christmas, she got a new sewing machine, so she now has this other pedal here, which I think is the sewing machine clutch pedal. Press that, and it actually cuts your thread. But as you can see here, it hangs off the stool, so that's not any good. So we're gonna make another stool. We're gonna make it pretty big though. We're gonna make it, I don't know, maybe about 2 feet wide. And we're gonna make 2 of them different heights, one for sewing machine side, one for home office side, because the sewing machine is at a different level than her laptop. So a couple stools, a couple more tabs, and then we'll be done with the welding. All right, so our frame is all painted here. We've got part there, part over there, but it's all now a nice, what is this, satin bronze color. It came out pretty good. Usually I don't like using metallic colors because if you get any runs in them, they don't look good at all, but this one went on pretty smooth and I'm pretty happy with it. So we got the frame all finished. Now we need to get the wood and start looking at that. So the wood we have here, this is called furniture grade pine, and it comes in strange sizes. So if you notice, all the boards are a different size. Asked the guy at the store about that. He's like, it's whatever size the tree grows. So those are the size boards we got. And we bought 8/4 inch thick boards, which it sounds strange, yes I know, but 4/4 is apparently an inch thick, and so 8/4 is 2 inches thick. And then what they do is you can pay for a surfacing service, and they'll mill it down to whatever thickness you need. So these are 1 9/16 thick, so we can do a little bit of sanding, get down to 1.5 inch thick countertop. Another strange thing is they only surface one edge of the board here. So like if you look at this guy right here, it's like straight, veers off to the side. So we're gonna have to get the table saw out and make this board straight, probably like a bunch of the other boards. And if anybody is in the lumber industry and you know why that is, let me know. I asked the guy, I was like, you can't do both sides? He's like, no, we only do one side. I was like, okay, I guess I'll be doing the other side then. So we're gonna cut these down to size, get them straight, figure out how we're gonna make a 6-foot wide tabletop out of all these different width boards, and then we'll start joining them together. All right, we're all done cutting the wood, and we kind of ran into an issue while we were cutting it. So normally when I'm gonna do a tabletop like this, I'll make a bunch of cuts and put kind of like random seams throughout the tabletop just because I think it looks a lot better. But when Erin and I were discussing this, she decided she wanted the boards all one length without a bunch of seams, so whenever she's cutting on her mat, it doesn't have, dips and divots and stuff like that. So we went to make the top all, one board length or whatever. Problem is, I ran out of wood, and so we have to have one board on the top that's going to be in sections like that. Then on the bottom, turns out I had bought 10-foot boards because I thought I was going to be doing a whole bunch of cutting and resectioning and stuff like that. If I'd bought 12-foot boards, it would have been a lot better. I could have just done these boards this way all the way across, but as it turned out, we had to do them this way, which really isn't that big of a deal, but we were also running out of wood again, so I've got a few seams down here. Probably doesn't matter as much on the bottom because this is just going to be a shelf. She won't be cutting on it. But that's how it wound up. We wound up using basically all of our wood. That's all we got left right there. No scrap left unused, kind of. So next we're going to start putting these together. So let's grab the biscuit cutter and talk about that. So these are biscuit cutters. And what you do is you just roll out your dough, and then you take your cutter and that's wrong. I think I'm just hungry. So this is a biscuit cutter, or maybe it's called a biscuit joiner or a biscuit jointer. I don't really know. But what it does is you set it on your wood to whatever depth you want, and then whenever you push and pull the trigger, it cuts a nice little hole there. And into that hole goes a biscuit. Still hungry. So these biscuits will go in between the pieces of wood here, throw in some glue, and that will hold everything together. So the way I do biscuits is I just kind of throw them wherever. So wherever you want a biscuit, place one there. There's probably a science to this. I don't know what it is. And then I'll make a mark across both boards, and that's what I will center the biscuit cutter, jointer, whatever on, and make my cuts. If you thought there was a lot of sawdust before, you're about to see a lot more. Y'all ever have one of those days where you're, just having a good time, joining some boards together, and then realize you forgot something pretty important? I never made any tops for these, and now I'm out of wood. So I guess we're just going to, Home Depot or Lowe's or something. We'll just get some regular wood and throw on these. Don't tell Aaron.
Do you want me to get you some goggles? Those glasses?
No, safety is for nerds. Alright, so the tabletop is done. All of our boards have been joined together. We have the table itself, the little tops of the footstools. We got our shelf over here. Everything's been sanded down with all the way down to 220 grit. We routed off the edges of the table so it's not so sharp, so you're not gonna, catch yourself on it. Got our little corner so you don't impale yourself, and it's just kind of a slab of wood. There's not much to it.
That's gorgeous.
Thanks. But now it's time for Aaron to make a decision. So this is the color of our table frame, and Aaron couldn't really choose the store, so we got a couple different colors of stain. One is kind of a whitewash stain.
Look at this.
Yeah. And the other one is black, which is that just turn it black?
Yeah.
Oh. Put those on the floor. So we made a couple samples, and now she gets to choose what color she wants for your table. Do like a zebra thing, like one board black, one board white. Yeah.
Gotta be careful what you do.
So decision made. We took it in the room. Having a big black table in there is just gonna be like a big black hole in the middle of the room. So we're going with the white.
But the black does look good. But
She likes the black. It's just a big table. Yeah.
And then we can make this glossy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Alexa, turn on Club Aaron.
Flare in my TPS reports. There's your flare.
So everything is done. We got some LED track lights up there on each side, so they provide plenty of light now. It's kind of like, I don't know.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's bright in here. Table turned out pretty good. It's pretty sturdy. The only thing I don't like about it is I was concentrating more on making the table the right size versus just like pushing the wood all the way together. So there's a few kind of, I don't know what you call them, splits, or it's just not joined all the way together in some spots, but it's flat, it's sturdy, it's good enough.
It has character too. That's really pretty.
There you go. That's character.
Yeah.
We got our shelf down here. I think the embroidery machine's just going to be stored down here. It doesn't really get used that much.
Does too. Sometimes.
Not as much as the sewing machine.
Well, okay, yeah.
Yeah, maybe when the home office goes away, the embroidery machine will move up there. But until then, you've got your sewing machine over here. The stools turned out way nicer than I thought they would. So these are just like 1x2s from Lowe's. I sandwiched them all together, glued them together. And this, I almost feel like I should have done the table like this. It just looks really nice. We put the TV on the wall so you can watch your shows while you're sewing and not working. Got a nice monitor stand over here for the home office area. And I realized we never kind of talked about the rest of the room before, so real quick, this is the ironing board. Aaron made a new cover for it, but it's called a big board, right?
Mm-hmm, I think so.
So there's plans out there. You can get a big board, which is basically just like a big piece of wood that typically people just put on top of their ironing boards. And so I was making Aaron one. I was like, well, why don't we just put some storage beneath it? Because, like those feet beneath the ironing board is just wasted space. So this is a little ironing cart that we have.
Mm-hmm. It's just topped with batting and then some kind of fabric.
Yeah. And then the design board. So these are 2 4x8 pieces of foam board. I think they're half, 3/4 inch thick. I can't really remember. But those are also covered in batting, so you can stick pins and stuff into them if you need to. But typically the stuff just sticks, right?
Mm-hmm. It sticks really well.
It's like magnets for fabric. And then we just put a frame around it and screwed it to the wall. And Erin got her big cutting board in, so it's secure with these little things. What are these little screw thingamajigs?
Little clamps, and it's a 36 by 70 board, so it's huge and amazing, and it would have been really nice to have when we were doing those big Sarah pieces.
Oops.
But
plenty of room to cut your fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah, so kind of temporarily she's got her rulers and stuff hung over here. I think I am still going to build a drawer, just haven't gotten around to it yet, been busy, but there'll be a drawer. We're thinking like a big drawer down here that you can pull out, throw a bunch of stuff in.
So Baby Awesome doesn't rearrange them every time he comes in the
room.
room.
Oh yeah, Baby Awesome likes to play with the rulers. It's kind of his thing.
That's his thing. And this.
And pins. He loves pins, scissors, anything sharp.
Yeah. He loves his room.
We also put some smart switches and plugs in, so all the lights, the fan, and actually the iron's on a smart plug too, so you can say, Alexa, turn on Club Aaron, and then everything turns on. And we are still working on the decoration, so We're thinking something big to go up there to kind of go the length of that space, but we haven't gotten that yet. So
means I get to go to the antique store.
I don't know about that. Still some work to be done in the decorating area, but the functionality of the room is complete,
awesome.
Except for the drawer. So that's kind of it. I do have one more surprise though.
Yeah? Is it a good surprise or a bad surprise? Oh.
I need these hemmed.
No, I thought I was gonna get a new tool. Every time I do a project, I get a new tool. Well, I got a new room. Okay.
Surprise!
Yeah.
So that's it for now. Don't forget to put those like and subscribe buttons, and we'll see you later.
Bye. This was just part of a joke, like part of the video, right?
I do need those hemmed. I actually have 2 pair that I need.
No! Here's your damn TPS report. But you can't put a damn in it.
Sure I can.
No.